AITA for not getting upset or convince the bride after I was uninvited to my friend's wedding. This happened over the weekend, but there's still so much tension. One of my good friends, Matthew, 26M, is getting married next month to Jennifer, 26F. I, 25F, have known Matthew since high school. We've both connected when it came to video games, especially Minecraft. Matthew has had his fair share of girlfriends over the years, but when he met Jennifer 3 years ago, he said that he knew she was the one and they are madly in love with each other, and I am so happy for them both. Last year, Matthew popped the question to Jennifer and she said yes. Jennifer's demeanor towards me drastically changed after the engagement. She was distant towards me. She wouldn't look at me and she would hardly speak to me, which was weird since Jennifer was always so sweet and nice towards me. I'd still talk to Matthew and meet with him and our group of friends, sometimes with Jennifer, and she would still act cold and not speak to me much. I kept my distance from Jennifer. 3 months ago, we all received a save-the-date invitation and their wedding is going to take place at Matthew's cabin 2 hours away, and they were going to keep it small due to the size of the cabin, so we were only allowed to bring one guest. That was when Jennifer acted extremely harsh and hostile towards me and said, "Bet you don't have a +1 since you are so into my man." I was taken aback. I asked her what the fuck she was talking about and she smirked and said I knew and to not act stupid. I ignored her remark and told her my boyfriend was coming. She looked surprised and left. I of course told Matthew about what Jennifer said to me and he was not happy, so he made her apologize to me. Then, last weekend, I was invited by Matthew's sister to go dress shopping with her and Jennifer. I declined at first because I wanted to keep my distance from Jennifer, but Matthew's sister assured me that she will deal with Jennifer and that our other friends will be there with us. So we go dress shopping and I found a beautiful dress that I thought would be perfect and I took a picture to send to my boyfriend since he planned on matching, i.e. with a bow tie, with me. I tried the dress on and it was a perfect fit, so I guess I got lucky. Jennifer was angry, called me names such as a whore, a boyfriend-stealing bitch, and that I was officially uninvited to the wedding. She caused such a commotion, the employee of the store asked us to leave. I told Jennifer I didn't want to come to the wedding anyway, but I was going to because my friend was getting married. I told her if she didn't want me at the wedding, fine. I don't give a fuck since I won't go to a wedding if the bride is going to be so rude to a guest. Matthew and our friends found out and I was getting texts left and right begging me to just come to the wedding. I told them I was happy to get uninvited and I'll just spend the day with my boyfriend on the day of the wedding instead. They're all mad at me for not fighting hard enough. AITA. Edit. So my decision is final. I will not be going to the wedding and there's no changing my mind about it. I will be sending a wedding gift to Matthew the day prior to the wedding instead. I told Matthew and all my friends that I won't be going and they can't convince me otherwise. Matthew also called me and asked if we can talk somewhere. I agreed, but it's to tell him in person that I won't go so that way he knows I'm serious about that. Update. I met up with Matthew and brought my boyfriend along. Of course, he begged me to come to the wedding and he said he would beg Jennifer to let me attend. I told him it's best if I wasn't there. I told Matthew that Jennifer has a problem with me, period. He said he doesn't understand and he did ask her many times, but Jennifer would continue to say she was just stressed. I got angry and said that's bullshit and he knows that. My boyfriend also intervened and said to Matthew that he needs to wake up and realize Jennifer is crazy and he can't keep defending her. Matthew said he loves her too much and doesn't want to lose her. My boyfriend and I got up and told Matthew to let us know when he has a backbone. In the meantime, it's best we don't talk. I messaged all of our friends in the group to let them know I'm keeping a distance from Matthew because of Jennifer. He's still my friend, but at an arm's length. I will still be sending him a gift regardless, but I'm keeping my distance from Matthew. It seems like he is in denial and can't comprehend what's going on at all. He usually is in denial. Ever since high school, he would have a sense of denial. Another thing to mention is that Jennifer is nice to all of Matthew's female friends, just not with me. I've also gotten a message from 2 of our friends saying they have dropped out of attending the wedding because of Jennifer and that they are on my side. Edit 2. Jennifer already bought her wedding dress a while ago. When I went dress shopping with Matthew's sister, she invited Jennifer as a way to resolve this animosity she had towards me. So it was Matthew's sister who wanted to buy a dress and I found a dress that I loved and Jennifer went crazy. Hope that clears things up since so many were confused. Update. Posted June 12, 2024. I will be posting an update here because frankly, I do not have the time to edit or shorten up the post. I exceeded character limit and there was a whole lot going on that I did not want to leave out. So I will be copying the post here. Hello to all. A lot of you have been asking me for an update, so I might as well make one. Before I do that, I want to clear up a couple things that a lot of people have been confused about. When I went dress shopping with Matthew's sister, she brought Jennifer along because she wanted us to put our differences aside for Matthew's sake. This shopping trip was not for Jennifer to buy a wedding dress, as she had already purchased her dress a long time ago. I hope that clears things up. I would never try on a dress or purchase one if the bride is the one who is shopping for a dress. That's an obvious rule. Matthew and I never had romantic feelings for each other. We never hooked up or anything of that nature. Our relationship has always been and always will be platonic. I'm gonna go straight to the point with this update. This is going to come out as a shock to a lot of you, but Jennifer called off the wedding. I found out from our friends who messaged me. I asked what happened and they explained that Jennifer told Matthew she couldn't marry him and admitted that her behavior towards me as well as towards a couple of other people, which includes Matthew's sister and his best friend Jacob. She apologized to Matthew and realized that she isn't in the right place to get married. This happened about 2 days before the wedding. I decided to call Matthew and I told him I heard about the wedding being called off and assured him I'll be here if he ever wants to talk. He asked if we could meet and I agreed. Matthew explained that Jennifer had severe trust issues not just regarding me, but with his best friend Jacob. Jacob was supposed to be Matthew's best man, but he was also uninvited by Jennifer over the fact that Jacob might encourage Matthew to cheat. Matthew also told me that Jennifer has constantly accused Matthew of possibly cheating on her with me despite showing her evidence that we did nothing of the sort. It had gotten to the point where Jennifer would prevent Matthew from going out with friends, she would sometimes confiscate his phone, and she has even taken his car keys, causing him to be late for work. So there was a lot more happening behind closed doors. Matthew wasn't blinded by love, he was simply afraid to reach out to any of us for help. He was embarrassed to tell us his bride-to-be was doing more than just controlling the wedding guest list. I asked Matthew if he wanted to go with us on vacation, but he declined, stating he wants to be alone, which I do understand. I go on vacation and I had a fun time. By the way, I did wear the dress that I bought and wore that to dinner with my boyfriend. He loved the dress and had constantly complimented me the entire time. When we returned, Jennifer messaged me, which I was surprised by as she never once did such a thing. She asked me if we could meet. At first, I wasn't sure, but I agreed. I brought my boyfriend along for safety reasons, as I wasn't sure what Jennifer's intentions were with me. Jennifer told me that she wants to apologize for lashing out at me at the store, for calling me names, and for uninviting me to the wedding over something so small. She explained that she allowed her jealousy to get the better of her and she was so scared of losing Matthew that she ended up doing things that she deeply regrets. Jennifer is going to get therapy and said that she had some trauma in her childhood that lingered into her relationship in ways she didn't expect. She also admitted that she was insecure and found me to be a very beautiful woman, and she was a bit jealous when Matthew and I talk about our hobbies, and that made her feel left out because she isn't into Minecraft or gaming. I told her none of those things matter to me now since she has apologized and admitted what she did wasn't right and that I have forgiven her. As for Matthew and I's friendship, we are now back to hanging out and playing games together. Even my boyfriend has been hanging out with Matthew a lot and have gotten closer. I did decide to ask Matthew if he ever did have a crush on me back in the day, and he said he never did and that he was being honest. Jennifer moved her stuff out, and as for the cabin where the wedding was supposed to take place, Matthew, my boyfriend, myself, and a couple of our other friends will go there this upcoming weekend. I apologize for taking too long. I think posting it on my personal profile rather than on the subreddit is better since I broke the character limit. I'm quite busy and I know everyone was dying for an update. I also like to thank everybody who has given me advice on how to handle this situation and my friendship with Matthew. I also had the chance to read some personal stories some of you have sent me, and it breaks my heart. I realized I have such a big support group here, and that's one thing I love about Reddit. Story 2. Whipped for doing a paternity test behind my family's back. Original post October 10th, 2023. Throwaway account because I don't want anyone to see this on my main. I 26F, have reason to suspect that my dad, 48M, isn't my biological father. I look nothing like my 3 siblings, and during an argument with my mom a few years ago, I overheard him mention that he didn't believe I was his. Later on during an argument between the two of us, he also said that he didn't even think I was his kid. He immediately backpedaled and said he was just angry and didn't mean it, but it haunts me. It's been 2 years and it just lingers in the back of my mind. I mentioned doing a paternity test, but he said no, he wouldn't agree to it because I was his and he didn't want to. He refused to talk about it after that. I mentioned taking a paternity to my sister, 24F, and she was adamant that it was a bad idea. She said it would only start arguments and that our mother would have never cheated on him. She is the spitting image of my dad, as is our younger brother, and the youngest sibling we have looks like a combination of my mom and dad. I told her I wouldn't do it, however I still plan to. I was trying to figure out how I was going to get a sample from either a sibling or my dad, but my fiancé, 26M, told me that I would be a huge asshole for saying I wouldn't and then doing it anyways. I argued that none of them understood what it felt like and neither did he. It blew up and he insists that all I'm doing is being dramatic and trying to hurt everyone. We went to bed angry last night, and now I'm worried that I am going to cause unnecessary drama, especially if it comes back he is my bio dad and they find out I did the test. So would I be the asshole for not telling any of them? I know they're never going to agree to it, so I feel like it's my only option. ETA, I realized I never mentioned how I plan to get a sample. My youngest brother is very close to me, and I haven't asked, but I believe if I do he'd be willing to give me a sample to see if we are full siblings. I was discussing that with my fiancé when he said I'd be a huge asshole for going behind everyone else's back. I did not make that very clear in the post, sorry about that. Verdict, not the asshole. Additional information from OOP. I didn't want to mention everything in the post that truly leads me to believe he might not be. And I didn't want to say the biggest reason for needing to know because it scares me the most, but I think this comment makes me think I may have to say it. He told me who he thinks my real bio dad is before he decided to backpedal on it. They were family friends of ours when I was younger, and as an adult I had a brief relationship with one of the sons. We dated for a while, and the idea that I may have been physical with a half-sibling absolutely haunts me. He knew about the relationship and voiced his opinion when we were together that he didn't like it. We fought about it back then, but he never brought up why. My relationship with my parents hasn't been good for a while. We don't speak much anymore, but you're right about my siblings and fiancé. I don't want to ruin my relationship with them. I don't want them to think differently of me. My siblings don't know about the identity of the other guy being my bio dad, but my fiancé does. He has done nothing but help me get through that awful initial phase of that. Update June 10th, 2024. Update, did a 23andMe and got results. So from my last post, many people suggested doing a 23andMe. I found a lot OD relatives on my mom's side and unfortunately found that my father is in fact not my bio dad. This is information I have kept to myself and I do not wish to share it with anyone else in my family. I know many of you wanted to know why my fiancé was so against it and why he called me an asshole for it. He told me he was only concerned for empty mental health. I was doing very poorly, and he didn't want me to risk my relationship with my siblings. In the end he told me he would support me, but insisted I at least start therapy first. I did and he has been incredibly supportive. We're married now BTW. The man who's my bio dad will never be able to contact me. He was already blocked on any social media I had, but even if he tried I wouldn't respond as I do not trust him. In the end this has given me a strange peace of mind. I don't sit up at night and worry over it. My therapist is helping me grapple with the terms of it as well as help me through the disgust I feel with myself over the relationship I had with who I now know was my half-sibling. I can't tell him as he passed away a couple years ago in a car accident. My relationship with my parents was severed before I ever did the test. I haven't spoken to either in over a year now and I am happier than I ever have been. My in-laws are great to me and a man I've known for a few years has stepped in and walked me down the aisle. I'm surrounded by people I love and it's amazing. I really appreciate everyone's support from my original post. Many of you helped me with good suggestions, and no one judged me over the relationship I had, so I can't thank you all enough. I wish you all safe and happy travels. Relevant comments. Ambitious_estimate 41. I'm glad you are at ease now, but I'm curious, did this topic make you cut ties with your parents or was it something else? Good to hear you have good in-laws. OOP. It was definitely one of the things that pushed it. The last straw was him coming to my house to bring my brother How, and he had been drinking. He completely ignored me in my own home, and my mom stood there and cried and called me selfish for being mad at him because it stresses her out. That was the moment that put me over the edge. The reality is it was 26 years of hell before I stopped talking to them. I posted a few months after I went NC. Learning the truth wasn't easy. I cried for 2 weeks pretty consistently and struggled with identity issues. My therapist helped me through it, though, and now I am where I am now nearly a year later. Zingius Cobra. You mentioned in your previous post you had an idea about who your bio dad was, but then didn't mention why he is already blocked on everything. Sounds like there may have been more people in the know and all the adults failed you. Hope you are doing better. OOP. I blocked him myself. He was someone I didn't want in my life before all of this came to light, and I don't want him reaching out if he finds out I know. His ex-wife is who my dad cheated on my mom with, so they're all messed up. Feisty_extent_9140. I'm sorry for the confusion you are dealing with. I genuinely cannot believe your mother sat by and watched you date your half-sibling, assuming she knew or had any suspicions. That must be a really difficult thing to unpack, and you really don't deserve any of this. OOP. I never understood why my dad was so angry about it. He didn't tell me what the problem was. We were like 19 and we found we weren't compatible romantically after a few months, but stayed friends up until he passed. I feel like telling me when we first started dating before anything turned physical would have been the best solution to all of that. At the end of it, I understand not wanting to tell me, but that doesn't make it acceptable, especially knowing what I went through. Feisty_extent_9140. Oh wow, so parents knew. That really blows. Does your sibling know? OOP. None of my siblings know. The half-sibling I had a relationship with passed in a car accident a couple years ago. My other siblings I grew up with have no idea and I won't tell them. Their relationship with our parents is better than mine and I'm not out to destroy their lives. I simply want my own peace and I feel like I'm on the path to finally achieve that.